Mother of darkness, mother of light, earth beneath thy soul in flight, songs of love and love of life, like the brightest.
Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and of Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Being broadcast live tonight, of course, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, and off in YouTube world. And if you are listening in on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, the thumbs up, and subscribe, and the bell if you want to be alerted when I have a video up. And you can also find me on the podcast world, any place where you can find iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. And, no matter how you are hearing me, make sure you stop in and say hello. And I just want to thank you guys for joining me here on my journey, my spiritual journey. And I hope you want to keep learning with me, because I think it's awesome that you guys keep coming back. I think you're crazy, but hey, I like it that you're coming back. If you want to support the show, you can do that by going to the Etsy shop. It's www.etsy.com/Monarch Mountain Studio MTN. And then the Patreon is www.patreon.com/The Spaces Between. So, yeah, thank you. Call lines are open tonight. I figured out my tech issues from before, and yeah, it was operator error, which I kind of figured it was, but it's all good. So call lines are open. It is 213-233-3998, or if you're across the pond in the UK, it is 44203-393-2871. So I wanted to start the show off tonight just real quick. For listeners, we watch the news and catch some highlights here and there. Personally, I hate watching the news anymore because, oh my gosh, what happened to positive things? It's like they just disappeared. But I see them everywhere else. Anyways, just send some energy, some positive energy, some rain energy to Australia. They could really use a nice, good, soaking rain. No wind. Just send them some rain. Soaking rain. And kind of calm that nastiness down, I think. Because, I think they could use all the help they could get right now, folks. So, real quick, joining us in the chat rooms, I see Lucky. Hi, Lucky. Hi, Ken, Vero, Hilarious, Surprising, Vinny, and Gentle. And I also see Renee and Blacktree. Hi, Julia, Sonia. I Naysay. And then Hestia and Gemini. Holy cow, y'all. How y'all doing? Yeah, Australia could really use some serious positive energy, because got a lot going on down there. So, hi. Nice to see y'all. Thanks for joining. So, real quick question. If you answer, that's awesome. If you don't, I totally get it, because, hey, I'm the one on the air and you're just listening. How many people, show of hands, experienced an energy shift with the new year? Has anybody noticed it? I know some people have, some people haven't. For me, it felt like I had a hangover the next day, which was kind of gross, seeing as how I had water and went to bed by 10 o'clock, because I'm old, guys. Old. And, I think a lot of people I know really felt that same hangover feeling the next day. And I had a migraine on the following day. It was kind of gross. And it was just, just pretty intense, I think, is just a really good way to put it. Just very, very intense. And yeah, just kind of an interesting feeling. I think 2020 has a lot of potential to do some crazy, crazy things. Just all depends on how we use that energy and kind of what our thought processes are. So make sure you're focusing your attention, doing your research. Now, just real quick, kind of a PSA, public service announcement. So remember, this is, I'm doing the show mostly to hold myself accountable to my path and learning more about my path, because I think a lot of us don't really understand, paganism or witchcraft and all. And I think it's interesting, you know, learning more about the path and everything. And so this is my path. This is my journey. So mostly, and I hope that all of you will do your own research too. Look into the path, paganism, Wicca, any of that, and it's it's been an interesting journey. So yeah, I definitely recommend that you guys do your own research, explore your path. If you have questions, ask questions. And holy cow, um, it's been interesting. So here locally, we had a druid monk recently passed here. So just a real quick. Thought of memorial and energy to his family and those around him. Ken was a good guy, and he's going to be missed. So yeah, just guiding thoughts as he passes from this life to the next, because it's so many transitions this past week. It's just been kind of a roller coaster, I have to tell you. It has been an emotional roller coaster. And it's only, what, the third? Yeah, it's only the third. So I hope that the ups and downs, we have a lot more ups than we have downs in the coming year. Because, yeah, it's been just all over the place. So I got to thinking, let's talk about energy tonight. And, as we talk about energy shifts, what does that really mean? Mostly, there's a vibration. Phone. It's, the Earth has a frequency or vibration or energy to it. The planets all do. The universe does. And there's just energy all around us. And the ley lines, I think, are getting stronger and deeper and such. And as the sun is letting more of that energy out towards us, of course the earth is soaking it up. So that's the obvious stuff, but there's also, I think, a transitional energy just shifting with time, if you will. And so I kind of Googled it just a little bit and found an interesting article talking about just, energy shifts and some of the signs to look for. Now, this particular article has 40 different signs, 40, which is kind of a lot, because I think some of them are kind of duplicating. But yeah, I wanna go over some of them, because I think it's interesting, the different things that we might encounter that could be considered an energy shift. So the first one on the top of the list is old resentments, fears, or issues that might surface that require some sort of acknowledgement or resolution and release. And often it may be things that you have thought that you were already processed and already done and ready to move on. And and actually you weren't. There's still that last dregs of resentment or energy, or just the final roots to pull out, of those weeds. Finish digging up those weeds, those things that are clogging you up. So don't be afraid to meditate on them, do your shadow work, journal it, see your therapist if that's what it takes, because I think it's really important that you really figure out what those old resentments or fears or even just low grade issues might be, and how to get past them. So if you do hear the beep boops, it is the phone, by the way. And it's also my computer, because I live in North Idaho and that's the way my internet works. I don't know why. Just beep boop. Checking to see if you're awake. So the next one, you feel depressed, or maybe you're experiencing some extreme energies, highs and lows. You're feeling a little bipolar, because that happens too. And you may feel that the depression is pretty huge, but it could also just be a release of the pressure that you've been feeling to buoy you up or to push you out or something like that. So it's just that release of pressure. Maybe you're misplacing things often. I do. All the time. But maybe you're just seeing more of it. Maybe you're falling down or tripping, or gravity is just kind of getting in your way, because that happens. And maybe maybe you're just disorganized, disoriented. You can't focus. I know this happens with me. And I know that there are times that I just feel foggy. I just feel like I'm not there. I just feel like I am not really connected, and I lose track of my thoughts as I'm speaking, and it's frustrating because I'll have this really, really good idea and this really awesome point I want to make, and I'll get 2/3 the way into it, and my brain stops, and it's awesome. So I always blame it on not enough coffee or not enough chocolate, because I do think those are real things. But it could be just that energy shift I'm starting to experience. You may be developing some sort of physical malady. Whether it's, your tummy's upset, you may have, any place that you're stressed, like if you've ever broken your arm or your leg or whatever, and it just starts aching a lot more, or you're feeling it more intense or something. That may be a thing, a sign that you're feeling the energy a little bit differently. Forgetfulness kind of goes with that whole disoriented or disorganized. This article says senior moments, but it could be a dimensional shift or an energy shift or something like that, because it's a real thing, that energy shift. You're in the middle of your thought, and you're just walking along, and then your energy shifts, and you're walking along parallel to what you just were, and your mind has just gone bloop. I don't know what I'm talking about now. He's going bleep bloop. You may be feeling overwhelmed or even underwhelmed, so you're just feeling whelmed, and you wonder, why are you trying? What's the purpose? Why try? And you know what? It's pretty normal, especially if you're feeling those energy shifts, because you may be feeling just really up and bouncy and positive, or if the energy fades a little bit, or it's building up before that moment, and the energy goes away, you may be feeling a little bit more depressed. You're just feeling like, ugh, I don't care right now, and that happens. It really does. Or maybe you just feel like crying. Seriously, why are you crying? I don't know why I'm crying. I'm just crying. I'm not crying, you're crying. Any of that. It happens. Or maybe laughing for no reason, or maybe laughing and crying at the same time, because that makes 0 sense, and I've done it. I think a lot of us have at least once. So, and it makes no sense. But you've got all of that energy, whether it's the tears or the laughter or just that energy, it comes leaking out your pores in some way. And tears and laughter is a lot better than punching something. Trust me on this one. Um, the pain like sciatica or lower back pain, upper back pain, anything like that. Um, and it, it just is frustrating because you hurt, you ache. Maybe it's like the flu or something, and you just want it to go away, make it stop. And just be aware it could just be that pressure is building, and you're just waiting for it to release because you just need it to release. Maybe your intuition is starting to become a little bit more alive. A lot of us are very intuitive, and it may be that you suppressed that intuition because it wasn't acceptable by your family or your friends or the people you're around, your loved ones. Or maybe you were in church or something, and you're very, very hard trying to be a Christian, and that intuition just wasn't part of that path, and so you're suppressing it and holding it down. And maybe you're to that point now where the energy's built up enough that you can't hold back. So that intuition is going to start happening more. And maybe your heart's going to wake up a little bit more and be more open to different things that you've never experienced before. And both the intuition and your emotions and your feelings start arguing with your logic, because your brain says, no, X plus Y equals Z. And your heart and your intuition is saying, no, X plus Y equals purple zebras. And it makes no sense, but yeah, it's a real feeling. So, just it's real. Just let it happen. And just breathe through it and accept it, and do your meditation, journal it, write down these feelings and these emotions and what's happening. Because you're going to go back and you're going to look at this in a couple months or even years, and you'll be like, I get it now, I understand now. It's just like reading the introduction to a book. You've picked it up, and the cover is like, oh, this is interesting. And you look at the back, it's like, oh, this is exciting, but I don't know how this is all going to happen because the book is this thick and there's like this much stuff could happen, and oh my gosh. And then you get to the end of the book, you're like, oh. So, it's real, and you just, work through it. And again, don't be afraid to go to a therapist. They are good for you, regardless of what anybody says. And, as you're doing that and working through it, it's going to confuse you, and you're going to feel frustrated. This is like a line item number 14 here. But yeah, you're going to feel confused and frustrated because it feels like absolutely nothing is working. And it feels like no matter how hard you're trying to do this thing, it just isn't working. And it's okay to be confused and frustrated. And just, it's part of the process, and it happens. So just work through it. As again, journal it, do your shadow work, and I'll talk about shadow work again probably next weekend, I think. And just work through it. maybe you feel a stress or dissatisfaction at work because, since you're changing, the person you were last year or 5 years ago, that career that you chose, doesn't fit who you are anymore. And I've seen it happen. I know someone who went into the military, became a law enforcement officer, really enjoyed serving his community as a law enforcement officer, but got tired of the same things that just kept happening over and over and over again. Nothing was changing. And ended up going some totally different, went into marketing and arts. So, and it's just, don't be afraid to change your path. We're never too old to change. And take a look at the path that you're on. It's like, I am not happy here. This is not who I want to be. This is not who I am. And, don't be afraid to reevaluate things and make that right turn or left turn or whatever it is you need to do to find that place that you need to be. Really, truly. And I will encourage you every time, be the person that you need to be. And, maybe because you're not satisfied at work, or maybe because of just stuff. Maybe, money isn't quite flowing the way it should be or that you need it to be. Don't stress about it. It will be sorted out. Don't be afraid to work through it and work on it. But it can cause you more stress. And you know what? The next one here is being impatient because it feels like you're just stuck in limbo forever. And I've been there. I've done it. I felt like I have been on the cusp of the hill and getting to the top of it, and I'm just not quite there, but I've been stuck in this spot forever. And I'm impatient because I just want it to hurry up and move along, because I know once I get to the top of the hill, I'll have a new view, I'll have new adventures, it'll be fun, it'll be great. But it feels like forever because I feel like I'm not moving. And just remember that it's normal to be impatient, but it's also normal to kind of work through things too. So, and you may feel puzzled, the next one, because you feel like you've done all the right things, you've made all the right steps, you've read the books, you've done the work, and it's still not working. Because it just, nothing's happening. It's not happening right. And it's just, now what? What am I doing wrong? Well, odds are pretty good. You've done the work. You've put the energy into it. You've set your intention. You've built into it. And you just have to let it be for a bit. The results will happen. And keep on keeping on. Just, it's okay. It is okay. So, it is just puzzling because you feel like you're doing all the right things and it's just not working. So, just real quick, I wanted to show you guys something. I got a thing. Yes, I got a thing. And this was a gift, so I'm just going to be real quiet for a moment as I kind of flash over to another screen because I wanted you to see this. Check this out. Check this out. And 1, 2, 3, go. If you didn't see it, I'm sorry. I'll put it back later. I got an 8-inch crystal ball with K9 clarity, meaning you can take a picture through it. And so it's really awesome. And that was kind of my Christmas and Yule present combined by someone close to me. And it is huge. Oh my gosh. So yes, I couldn't believe just how, how big that thing is. Oh my gosh. So yes, I am learning now how to work um, with a crystal ball. So yeah, it is a very fancy big ball. Oh hi Lola. So yeah, y'all are just coming in. So here, I'll do it again. I fixed the audio, I think. So yeah, so you guys can see it here on YouTube World. If you can't see it on, well, you can't see it on um, TFR, but basically, it's a big giant crystal ball that I got on a little stand with some velveteen, and it's just gloriously awesome. And it's a very big ball. um, it's not the right screen. Where did it go? There it is. So yes, the very big ball, very big crystal ball, and it is very very awesome. And I have it sitting on my altar now, and it's just very cool. I'm super stoked. So yes, 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 yes. um, so, anyways, it looks like I do believe because this time is just flying by. It's break time. We'll be right back. So shh. You guys see in a few.
I Brothers of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Weldon. We're off adventuring into the spaces between. And holy cow, chat rooms are busy tonight. I see Lucky and Ken, Vero, hilarious, surprising. Hi, Todd and Vinny. And then, yeah, I see Sage and Blacktree or Julia, Bomber, Cameron. Hi, Lola, Gemini, MCAT, Marlena, Renee. And I've seen Naysay and Asage and there's been a couple of you in here. So if I missed you, I'm sorry, but hi. Thanks for joining tonight. Awesome. So, we're talking about just some of the signs and symbols that you might be going through the energy shifts. And I totally get it because some of them are just pretty intense feeling and some of them are not as intense. And actually, a lot of these things are hard or easy to overlook sometimes because they be caused by other things, and it can be, frustrating because you're like, no, there's something else wrong. That's not it, and often it is really that energy feeling. So next one, we're at 19, so we're about halfway through the list. You just feel torn in, 50, 60, 100 different directions all at once. You got this to do and that to do, the kids stop, blah, 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 blah. And your brain is just going, no. So you don't want to do anything. You should sit still. So it's okay. And understand. You write a list and just kind of start somewhere. You start in the middle, start in the end, write them on slips of paper, throw everything into a hat, and work on that one thing at a time. Try to slow down that insanity because I know what it's like to feel pulled in 50 different directions. I'm working with 2 monitors right now. I think the most I've worked with is 4. And it's because I had that much going on. I had to pay attention to 4 screens. And it's insane. So don't be afraid to slow things down. Put stuff away, take a breath, and just try to handle one thing at a time. And because of all the stress, your blood pressure may be up, you may be dizzy, you may be having, feeling your heartbeat. And, I'm not saying that it couldn't be a medical thing because it could be. And if it is, don't be afraid to go to the doctor and get it taken care of. That's what they're for. That's their job. So if you're having heart palpitations or anything like that, it could be a legit thing. But just know that, it could just be energy shifting and you're feeling more of it, and it's okay. It is A-okay. And you may have, accidents. Or you may, trip and fall and all that stuff, and that may happen. Just as that energy is shifting, you're trying to get used to the different energy. It's almost like gravity has changed slightly. And it can take a little bit to adapt and get used to it. And that is really okay. It really is okay. You may feel angry for no reason. Just spitting mad for no reason. Now, often you may be feeling, anger comes from a lack of power or being out of control or something like that. That's really not what it is. You're just feeling that energy. So, just real quick, we do have a caller. So I'm going to stop there. I am going to highlight that in one moment. Hello, Naysay. How you doing? Hello? Hello?
Hello, Miss Sage.
Oh, this is Paisley. But yes,
Can
hi.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. How you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say hi. I reversed that. I was supposed to say hello, Miss Paisley, and then I was going to say extra hello to Sage. I'm sorry. I
No
was
worries.
just about to do something. I didn't think you were going to get to the phone so quick, and so
I was
I
paying
can't confirm or
attention.
deny what was occurring. But
How you doing today, Sage?
anyway, thank you for taking my call.
Sure thing.
I'm doing as fantastic as the universe will allow. Thank you for asking. Um, One thing I wanted to share with you that I have observed, um, I don't know if I've shared with you this before, but I'm kind of a little obsessive about taking care of making sure I'm in sync with the sunrise,
Hmm.
the sunset, and the moonrise and the moonset. And the one thing that I have noticed in the last 3 weeks, the moon was in a very chaotic state of flux where it was shifting from 9 hours of no moon one day, and then the next day would be 11 hours. Usually, what occurs is we have almost kind of a small window of back and forth, but it's close to 12 and 12 because it's the moon, because the earth spins,
Yes.
24 hours. And so you usually get a fluctuation between 10 and a half to 12 to maybe even, or it'll flux like 2 to 3 hours sometimes, depending on the year and depending on the convergence of the planets, because they're all, for lack of a better term, electromagnetivity or gravity is occurring on the celestial body. But the strange thing that I noticed is it came back to a more regular flow. I think it was 7 days ago.
Yeah. I think you're right.
I'd have to look at my notes.
It's been the energy of the moon has definitely felt a little bit different in recent weeks. And even tonight it's still not it's good. It's a good energy, but it is definitely different.
Well, it kind of is that basic science, and when we talk about how the moon affects the tides of the ocean, and if we are supposedly 80% water, and we're supposed to be alkaline with a slight hint of salt, which would cause the greatest conductivity of the electromagnetic occurrences
Sure.
within our body.
Yes. I could see that.
And so then if the moon is doing this dance with the earth, and the sun, as you were talking earlier, with its electromagnetic, propulsion, or the sunburst, when you get these huge waves, coming from the sun, which is all energy or radiation, and then that hits the earth, which has its own electromagnetic shield around it. It looks like a giant donut or a torus. So if we get all of this bombardment of electromagnetivity, it is definitely going to fluctuate with us. And my theory is, because of the New Year's Eve, the collective conscious, everybody was out to party. And what usually happens when everybody goes out to party, especially in abundance like New Year's Eve, it's almost like everybody was tapped into the collective consciousness.
Yeah, I think so. Um, I think there probably will be more people. There will be more people tapping into that collective unconsciousness as the year grows or goes on. Um, because I think as more people are more awake to that energy or more aware of that energy or more accepting of it, I think, and some bleep bloops kind of put you on hold. So basically,
Oh, was that a deep bloop?
yeah, there's a bleep bloop. Um, so I
Oh, what did I do with my? Oh, forget it.
Okay.
so basically, what I had said was, I think that people, as the year goes on, more people will become in tune with that collective unconsciousness. Um, I think it'll be more.
Absolutely. And one thing that I was. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
I was gonna suggest strongly that we really pay attention to the intake of what we're putting into our body, because as I've been doing more and more of my fasting and experiencing it and taking the assessment of what's going on, I've been fortunate in my experience in this body at this time to witness things where my scientific upbringing or my dominant society is like, what the heck? But my Native American upbringing accepts it, these experiences. And as I utilize these rituals or ceremonies that my elders share with me, I notice how easier it is to tap in. And I literally, I joke about it, but it's like magic. But I call it magic with a K.
Yes.
And when you feel that synchronicity with all of the cycles that are going on, it is literally like metaphorically being plugged into the wall outlet.
Yes.
So one thing that I really charge people to do is be on top of your water intake.
Yes. Keeping your water intake up, your electrolytes up, I think it's very important. Staying hydrated, as we go through an energy shift, I think is going to be very important because if we're dehydrated, then our brains are not as awake and they're not as receptive to the information. So, yes, hydration is good.
And one of the tricks that I was taught about hydration is if you take the extra skin over your knuckle and if you squeeze it parallel to the crease, if it stays, then you need.
Yes, you do need more water. And
Lost him again.
I think I lost you again. Yep. Bleep bloops. North Idaho Technology. Yep, got you a bleep bloop. So
Okay, well
yeah,
then.
so yeah, I agree. You got to make sure you're not dehydrated because if you pinch that fold of your skin, then and it stays there. That's a sign that you're kind of dehydrated. Another thing that I've learned is if you feel like you might be thirsty, probably are, and you should drink something
If
because
if you think you're thirsty, it's already too late.
yeah, you're already working towards that dehydration. So yep, stay hydrated, everyone. It's a lot easier to do your magic, your meditation, and all that if you're
well
and you're hydrated, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're very
And
welcome.
I got to go and take 2 hits now. Beep blue.
Beep boop. Bye, Naysay. It's interesting. He brought up the whole, being water and alkaline and a hit of salt. That just points to us being lightning rods, because, you get into a crowd of people and there's that excitement, there's that energy, and you pick up on it. You're a sink, you're a heat sink, you're a power energy sink, and you will take in that energy. And even if it's good energy, bad energy, you're going to take in whatever kind of energy is around you, which is important. Which my point is it's important to be around people that are good energy to you.
Yes.
Because like Naysay pointed out, as I said, we're basically lightning, human lightning rods for energy that's around us. And you were talking about anxiety earlier, about being not. You were talking about things not working right and which way to point them. So.
Exactly. So it kind of takes me to the next point I wanted to make.
MCAT says it's easy to drink water when it's covered with a single malt scotch.
or it's soaked in ground roasted beans.
Yes, those beautiful brown beans.
So the next one, food or friends no longer fit with who you are. So
yes.
It kind of goes with that whole energy that you soak up. So if you're trying to be more positive, don't hang around with negative people. Because negative people will suck the life out of you, and you'll become a negative person too. So, pay attention to it. Maybe your home environment doesn't feel right anymore or appropriate anymore, and often that may mean that you need to clean your house, and not just clean like, ooh, I'm going to sweep and dust and mop.
Sage, throw salt.
Sage, salt. Cleansing it is a big deal often, and so you can really reset your home environment if you cleanse it. You may be super sensitive to noise or sound pollution. Maybe your ears are ringing, and that happens. I know if I'm feeling a little dehydrated, my ears will ring. Absolutely.
Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah.
It's quite frustrating to me. So yeah, but yeah, being sensitive. Maybe you're just very sensitive and need to be in touch with your feelings. But no, seriously.
Okay, Buffy.
So, it may be that it just doesn't fit anymore. So
right.
Even though you're feeling sensitive, don't overreact with anger and such. So maybe you're feeling tired.
Ugh.
And exhausted.
Ugh.
Maybe you need a lot of extra sleep. I know. So I took a Benadryl last night because I've got hives. I'm allergic to life, apparently. And so I slept for like 11 hours last night. It was awesome. I could have used 5 more this morning. Seriously, it was low.
You know what I did last night? I came home, went to bed, and I rolled around about 2:30 in the morning. And then I remembered that my friend Cade down in Australia had a live show last night. So I called into a show.
Okay, you cannot sleep if you're calling into a show, Don. Just saying. But, so yeah, I was tired, and I'm a little tired now. But you know what? As we rest, even if we're not sleeping, as we rest, our bodies will reset. It may not get to that circadian rhythm that we need, but it will be better than just, staring at the TV. Turn your TV off.
Right.
Reduce the light sources, seriously. Or the next one is weird, violent, or frequent dreams, which can disturb your sleep, and I get it. But I know that I've had some very odd dreams lately. Some of them have been very memorable. Some of them not so much. Some of them I wake up and all I can think is WTF, and then I go back to sleep. So apparently it wasn't really important. It was just odd. Now, one that you may not be familiar with, or maybe you do, this is my dad, actually. He cannot be around electronic equipment.
Yes.
He still has a flip phone. It is a Nokia. It's serious. He can't even wear a watch because it dies on him right away, unless it's got enough silver and turquoise to keep everything grounded out. So he can't wear it. Walks past a computer, it turns off. Seriously, it turns off. Flat screen TVs, nope, there is no jeopardy there. So it some people just have that natural energy. So maybe if your electronic equipment isn't working right, maybe that's why the bleep bloops keep happening. I don't know. If it's not working quite right, maybe it's that energy is changing. Maybe you're seeing some synchronistic events. They're, coincidences, deja vu. manifesting at those higher frequencies. That those are all real things, real experiences. And it's weird once you start recognizing that synchronistic events are happening. It's almost like your eyes are opened and you see them more. And it was just, I don't know, it's odd. I don't know how else to explain it. So, but no, those synchronistic events will start happening more and more often. I see the number 1111 often, very, very often. So here's an interesting thing. I mentioned Australia at the very beginning of the show. But natural disasters such as fires or earthquakes, strong weather like hurricanes, tornadoes, high winds, that kind of thing, often increase, like to the point where it's always increase during an energy shift. Now, I know California had a really extreme fire season. Not quite the same as what that Australia is experiencing right now. I mean, Australia's like what, New Hampshire and Vermont together. That's how much square miles, or how many square miles, square acreage has burned in Australia so far. And that's a lot of area. And there is, that's a scary, scary, scary thing. So, it's those increases, are often heralding an energy shift.
Right. Hey, just to let the chatters know, we've only got a few minutes left in the show. So, Sage, if you're going to call it got to be a short one, but we'd love to hear from you.
Or you can wait until tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. That's right. You got another hour tomorrow.
I have a whole hour tomorrow. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's right.
But basically, pay attention. You'll notice the increases. Even and write them down. Journal it. Write everything down, because you're going to want to go back and see it later, remember it later. And, write it down. And you don't have to have a fancy leather-bound, handcrafted journal to write things down in. I use a 10-cent notebook from Walmart because they were on sale when school started, and I bought 100 of them. Okay, I bought 15. But still, my point is, you write it down. Back of an envelope, whatever it is you do, write it down, journal it, because it's going to be important, I think, as the year goes on and we really start experiencing these happenstances more and more often.
Right.
Because you're going to notice more accidents, more energy shifts, more fires, bigger storms, all that, because our storms are getting bigger, which could be a sign that, we're definitely building up to this event, this energy shift. Anybody who's watching the science news, magnetic north is in Siberia now. I mean, things are changing, and it's not just a metaphysical woo-woo type change. It is legitimately changing physically. So, just accept yourself as you are.
Right.
Ultimately, honor yourself, love yourself, accept that you're going through this change and it may be driving you nuts. And I get it, but it's okay. Journal it down, be kind to yourself, sleep as much as you can, because you need it. I need it. We all need the sleep. I'm not saying NyQuil the kids, but we all need the sleep. Meditate. Don't be afraid to meditate, because, it's good for you. Tai Chi, whatever it is you do to find your happy spot. And, don't forget to ground out. Some of that energy is building up and driving you nuts. Ground it out. Let it go. Visualize it going down into the earth and just being okay with things.
Mm-hmm.
But journal it. So, with that said, thank you all for joining me tonight. You guys have been awesome in the chat. I love it all. Yeah, all one. I know I need something going on. Goodness. So, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.
Good night.
Good night, all.
As we Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me.